I think it was the quartering that said, the people who bullied you in high school for being a geek are now playing your favourite characters in live action shows. So today we're going to be going back into the world of the anti-SJW fandoms, and this time we're going to be focusing on another group that love my channel, and it is anime fans. So Cowboy Bebop obviously came out on Netflix, people didn't really like it, and it was cancelled. Netflix cancel loads of stuff every year. But the backlash to this show specifically has been pretty, like, insane to me, and is driven by these anime fans and these anti-SJWs, and how much they've been absolutely dogpiling on Twitter the people involved in the show is seriously, like, blowing my mind completely. This anime that came out in like 1998, these guys take stuff so personally when it's remade. You can't just simply not like the new adaptation. You've got to go out and harass people. So today what we're going to talk about is the coverage of this stuff, the ridiculous stuff that always comes up, like, you're disrespecting the fans, like the fans actually made the show in the 90s or something like that. We're going to talk about the harassment, and then we're going to have a nice little caveat at the end talking about the themes of the anime and how, when they're complaining about it going woke, maybe there was a lot of subtext in the anime they may have missed, and maybe its inspiration from things like Blade Runner pretty much lended itself to being woke already. Anyway, before we go any further, I want to plug my socials for about 1 minute, so skip ahead if you're not interested. Before we get any further, a lot of my work on this channel is demonetized because when you're covering more serious, sometimes edgier topics, YouTube doesn't like this. So if you've ever enjoyed my work, please consider becoming a patron. And you don't have to pledge a crazy amount. I want to build up my Patreon based on as many people as possible pledging little amounts, like $1 or $2. So if you feel like I have ever brought anything that's worthwhile into your life and my content, please really consider becoming a patron to help me continue to do this regardless of if YouTube monetize or not most of my videos in a given month. Also, if you want to join our communities, come check out our Discord and my subreddit. Those links in the description. And if you want to follow me personally, please check out the Kavernacle at Twitter, at Instagram, and also my personal Reddit, where you can keep up to date with all my content. Thanks so much for the support recently. Do you like how I've organised my chocolate orange pyramid? It's not going to happen, but it would be really nice if we could get one more. I really don't know how to organise it at this point, because before 55, it was a very nice pyramid, and then it just got weird. So it's like a Tetris block or something at the moment. Let me know in the comments how I can organise this stuff. Also, I live stream about 2 times a week. Thanks to everyone who came to my live stream yesterday and played Mario Kart and Tetris with me. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Benny, who beat me in the tournament with the Xi Jinping me. Even though I came second, I respect you were a lot better than me. But please look out for those gaming streams. I'm always looking to play with the people in the chat. So the cancellation of Cowboy Bebop has been a massive surprise to the people involved in the show. It's also pretty surprising how quickly Netflix actually cancelled the 2nd season. It's like, even for them who cancel stuff all the time, it is pretty quick, which probably shows that not enough people were watching it and there wasn't really like a dedicated fan base. I'm sure they've got all the analytics at Netflix which tell them, how many people made it through the show. And apparently it was all based on if they can afford it based on the audience reaction. That happens all the time. Like, I really liked Altered Carbon season 1 on Netflix. Season 2 was trash. They cancelled it. Obviously, they have the analytics that 1 was successful, 2 wasn't. That's just what happens these days. I haven't watched Cowboy Bebop, but sadly, perfectly good shows get cancelled all the time, and it's really rare that a show with a smaller viewership actually makes it to completion. Mr. Robot, one of my favourite shows of all time, you can notice my logo is very inspired by it. I have the mask up there. Thankfully, that got to do 4 seasons. Apparently, the USA Network wanted even more. Despite the live viewing figures not actually being that massive, it did have quite a good audience on Amazon. But then you have stuff like Vinyl, which behind me, I really like Vinyl, cancelled after 1 season. Man in the High Castle rushed to completion with season 4. This stuff happens, and I don't think it's always an indicator of quality. But now, let's get into the coverage by the anti-SJW. So let's start with my old pal, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, who basically never watches anything he covers. He admits he hasn't watched the anime and he hasn't watched the show. But here he is, like, gloating, talking about, like, congratulations to the Cowboy Bebop fans. Like, congratulations that there's not going to be a season 2 that you don't have to watch.
Another win for the fans. That's right. After one season, Netflix has canceled Cowboy Bebop. After all of the disrespect, after all of the trashing of the fans that was going on, now look where we are. After one season, Netflix could not continue this series because they had no respect for the legacy, no respect for the source material, and no respect for the fans. Now, I haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, the original Cowboy Bebop. I have not watched that. There's a reason that these animes are so beloved. There's a reason why fans are really attached to these stories and these characters. And then Netflix and Hollywood and all of these studios have to come in and just screw everything up with their identity politics nonsense and their wokeness. But you should listen to what they're saying and you should take that into consideration. But the moment you go after them, you've lost. It's over with, because these are the people that you are supposed to be trying to target. These are the people that should be wanting to see your series. And if they're unhappy, then maybe, just maybe, there's a reason why they're unhappy. Maybe they're trying to help you. Everyone involved with this process deserved it, because you did not respect the fans, you did not respect the source material, and we continue to end up in this situation as fans, and we're tired of it. Congratulations to the Cowboy Bebop fans out there.
It's clearly just like churned out this video because he knew it would get clicks and stuff. It's like the flavor of the month. I do find the whole framing just like so bizarre though. And I've talked about this so many times with like various different properties. The way they as fans, whether it be Star Wars or Marvel, feel entitled to the direction of something always like just blows my mind. It's like, yes, you can be a passionate fan of the original. You can totally love that stuff. But you have to recognise it at the end of the day, you don't own it. You weren't involved in the making of it. There's nothing about the anime that had your input at all. Therefore, you really have no right to be totally outraged. Now, of course, you can not like something. I hate the Star Wars sequel trilogy. I love Star Wars generally. That whole trilogy was an absolute mess, but I've gotten over it. Like, I don't care anymore. I walked out of the cinema of 9 and thought, that is literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen. What a mess. And then quickly forgot about it. The old movies are there. The series are there, the TV shows are there, which I already like, the games are there, it's not going to ruin anything for me. But these anti-SJWs just take it as such a personal attack against them, which, you know, I find totally ridiculous. So the Quartering, of course, has jumped on this a lot recently, so he made 2 videos. One going over of when they all went absolutely mental, that the actress of the main female character actually responded to the backlash of her not wearing a really skimpy outfit for the show because her character had a skimpy outfit in the anime.
Hey guys, so as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. You know, they looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass. I know. Am I right? You know, there was talk about, like, can we put Daniela in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I want to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. You know, we tried, but doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip.
Daniela Panetta, who played Faye Valentine, calls Cowboy Bebop fans trolls. Now, while speaking with Deadline, Daniela Panetta is asked about that response and calls fans trolls. It was definitely my first interaction with very, very vocal trolls. Social media gives access to pretty much anyone who wants to say anything. She says that like it's a bad thing. Although I feel like with some people, it would be disheartened. I found a way to clap back with the video that I gave, which was very cheeky and silly. No, it wasn't. You could tell you were genuinely angry. Daniela Panetta, in this Instagram video, was extraordinarily dismissive, sarcastic, and antagonistic towards the fans, going after fans. This one particular video has 310,000 views. Do you think antagonizing an existing fandom before your show ever aired was a good idea? Probably not.
I mean, it probably shows you a lot of the problems that I've spoke about in multiple previous videos, that anime fans in general have a big problem with women, mainly because as an art form, anime traditionally really sexualizes women. This often extends to like teenagers as well. But here is the really unhinged part of all this stuff. Quartering and bounding into comics, basically the news outlet version of these channels, have focused their attention on one single person who isn't like the main writer or director of the show, and she has become the subject of all their hate. So I'm going to play you a clip from this quartering video quick.
Netflix's Cowboy Bebop script coordinator claims audiences are, quote, missing out on canceled season 2. Previously revealed show was inspired by radical left-wing YouTuber. Hot on the heels of its cancellation, Naomi Markman, the script coordinator for Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, recently took to Twitter to tease that audiences were, quote, missing out on a second season of the series, only to then cry victim when met with criticism from fans who, having seen the results of the unsurprisingly awful first season, expressed extreme doubt in her claim. This is via Spencer Bakuli over on Bounding into Comics. Of course, Marksman's seeming inability to recognize why Cowboy Bebop was near universally rejected by everyone comes as no surprise given how precisely she revealed that a scene involving a disingenuously gender-swapped version of Gren, as played by non-binary actor Mason Alexander Park, was inspired by a commentary video by a trans woman and far-left political commentator Contrapoints. According to the script coordinator, a scene in which Gren cringe-inducingly addresses guests at Anna's Jazz Club, Shonen Shoujo, and all you dirty folks in between, was a direct homage to a moment in one of Contrapoint's videos, titled What's Wrong with Capitalism Part 2, in which the commentator jokes glamour is very important to us, the L's, the G's, the B's, the T's, and all those filthy Q's. This is what happens. This is why all these weirdos do self-inserts, and this is why, they don't like the fans. As one fan aptly puts, this is why you don't have a job anymore.
So there you see, talking about like similar things like Geeks and Gamers, but also like talking about how this person included a Contrapoints reference in their show, or collaboratively, people who worked as creatives included like a small Contrapoints reference on their show. So Naomi Markman stands with Black Lives Matter, aspiring TV writer, revolutionary leftism, restorative justice, eco-anarchism, and she tweeted this, the inspiration and the moment. So you heard the quartering describe this stuff for you, but it's probably not surprising that someone who was tweeted about working the show, who is a woman and also a leftist, has been the subject of absolute insane harassment. So even on her original tweet about Contrapoints, you have all this stuff. No wonder it got cancelled. Red tubers have officially contributed more to the decay of modern media than any other kind of YouTubers. Good to know. If I had to guess why this show failed, the writers shoehorning their favourite YouTuber fandom into a beloved series instead of making a show for the people who like Cowboy Bebop might speak to why. Now, in the wake of the show getting cancelled, all of this person's mentions were just getting absolutely dogpiled by like hundreds of anime fans. And it's obviously as a result of people like Bounding into Comics and the quartering singling out this person, like I said, who isn't the lead writer or the director of any of the episodes on the show. So she also tweeted, not to rub your face in it, but as an individual who has read the Cowboy Bebop Season 2 scripts more than anyone else in the world, you're missing out. Muting this, obviously. So people just writing more stuff. There's a timeline where you're writing the new scripts right now instead of this post because people actually like them enough to want more. Dude, just take the L. It's just embarrassing at this point. You clearly hate the source material and aren't creative enough to make something that doesn't piggyback off of nostalgia. I'm glad we're missing out because none of us want your fixes. Responding to the muted stuff for saying, get called out for defending a dumpster fire and runs away, oh well, coward. And it's probably not surprising, based on the videos I've made before, these types of people are also involved in that harassment. They muted your entire show, bozo. And look at this guy's profile picture. I wonder what that is behind a picture of Obama. Let's also look at his lovely, lovely Twitter bio. So obviously with these types of people, they get even more mad when they're called out. She said, Dear troll friends, you do realise that literally hundreds of people lost their jobs today. Jobs we loved and cared about. We're going to be emotional. Most, if not all of us, found out today with the public. Just because you don't like the food at a restaurant doesn't mean you would celebrate when it closes down. You wouldn't mock the waiters or the chefs. I beg of you to touch some grass and give someone you love a hug. My entire life was turned upside down less than 12 hours, along with hundreds of my dearest peers. Consider having a goddamn ounce of compassion or empathy. The vast majority of Bebop fans are cool, by the way, obviously. So if you attack your audience, you deserve to get boiled. Do a better job next time and don't attack the fans and source material next time. And then in response to this like absolutely over the top insane harassment, the last 18 hours have been a lot, so I'm going to harness this energy into doing some mutual aid. Gonna go fill up a free fridge. Please consider doing the same for your local community. Winter is brutal for our unhoused neighbours and all those who are food insecure. Oh, what a lovely thing to do. I wonder what the comments say. What a virtue signal if I've ever seen one. Ah, another useless frivolity done for self-aggrandizement, as expected. This reeks of self-righteous PR attempt. We're not fooled. You're still a bad person. How is this person a bad person for working on an adaptation of an anime for Netflix? I wish more people would help the homeless, but I also wish they'd do it from a real place of charity and not just for Twitter clout, so the mean internet people will stop yelling at you. I hope you never get another job in entertainment again. Here comes the victim stage because she got told the truth right on time. Oh look, now you're playing the victim card in a pathetic attempt to garner sympathy. Work on being a better person. So according to themselves, what they actually do on the shows they work on is this. I'm a script coordinator. Here's a thread of what I bring to the writer's room. I answer basically any questions about scripts, story points, backstory, dialogue. Basically, if it's on the page or in the show Bible, I know it, I track everything, years, timelines, what certain tech is called. If character mentioned they don't like fish, all of it, I proof every script, not just for spelling and grammar, also for the continuity, story, timeline, character, language, the higher concept a show is, the more complicated this becomes. By the way, the reason I'm able to do so is because my showrunner is fantastic, the bee's knees, and the writers I've had the pleasure of working with are all super receptive. Big thank you to them. Just some more like awful stuff. Responding to another tweet. Came here to see if you were satire, performance art, pose law strikes again. Why does everyone involved in TV shows have to be mentally unhinged? It's practically a requirement at this point. Keep the feed going. I'm loving witnessing your crippling depression in real time. How much longer can you remain deflective and deluded before you break? Oh, absolutely lovely, these people. We still haven't forgotten how much of a trash person you are. So solidarity to Naomi for receiving this absolutely unhinged backlash. And she describes what her job role is, right? She works on the story and the scripts and ensures continuity. She isn't literally sitting down and being like, this is my interpretation of Cowboy Bebop. Here is what I want to make this into. It's my one vision. She does not even write the stories according to this, nor does she direct the episodes. So why has she become a target of this stuff? Well, she tweeted about Contrapoints. She's openly left-wing, and of course, she's also a woman. So people at Bounding Into Comics, the Court Ring, and people like that obviously targeted her. A very easy target with only like 600 Twitter followers. And all I will say is that this is just totally awful and these people will get bored. They're pathetic. I've dealt with so many people like this before, especially when I was a smaller YouTuber. Sometimes when I was like sleeping, massive YouTubers would make videos on me. I'd wake up and like all the comments on YouTube or all the tweets I'd be receiving were just like insane harassment. These types of anti-SJW anime fans are absolutely pathetic, and I think speaks to a wider, massive problem in anime circles of how they view and treat women, not to mention completely missing the point of their favourite animes all the time. So the same people crying about Cowboy Bebop going woke, both like don't understand the themes of the source material, nor do they apply this logic consistently. Like a couple of weeks ago, I made that video about all these insane conservatives loving Dune. Saying Dune like wasn't woke, it hadn't gone woke, even though they feared it might be. And it was just a great film for the fans. They always care about for the fans, completely ignoring how this story was even created, how it was based on anti-colonial revolutions in like the Middle East and Africa, how there's so much references to settler colonialism in the film itself, and it's not subtle, but apparently to Ben Shapiro, Geeks and Gamers and other people like that, Dune is the best non-woke thing ever. Cowboy Bebop is woke trash putting Contrapoints references in. It probably comes as no surprise that the anime itself does have fairly left-leaning messages. Not surprising, because the guy who made it was inspired in part by things like Blade Runner. He actually even worked on a really cool Blade Runner 2049 anime in the marketing for the sequel. So in 2022, an EMP detonation has caused a global blackout that has a massive destructive implications all over the world. Directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, Blade Runner Blackout 2022 is a new and highly anticipated animated short which serves as a prologue for the upcoming feature film Blade Runner 2049. I've gone over this in past videos, but yes, Blade Runner does have generally anti-capitalist messaging, left-wing messaging, and the new one obviously shows us an Earth that has been completely ravaged by climate change and has concentrated the oligarchy in its society even more. But just to get to the politics of both the show and the anime, I've found some good articles talking about this stuff, quite brief, but I just wanted to get into it to talk about how ridiculous it is these people are even complaining about wokeness, and anime fans in general, especially like right-wing ones, just like not even understanding their favourite animes, that they'll be so insulted over if someone makes an adaptation that's gone woke. So by Cesare Jan Strusewitz, at least the Netflix adaptation understood the anime's anti-capitalist tone, which is so often ignored. After the opening credits of the first episode of the animated series, there is a beautiful long-spanning shot of space stations and ships flying through the astral gates, which allow travel between planets in the solar system within hours. The scene is drawn out so one can marvel at these grand technological achievements. However, the feeling is instantly ruined when Spike and Jet's ship passes through the gates and we see how it automatically deducts money from their account. The awe-inspiring astral gates are essentially highway toll booths. No one on the show looks at them with wonder, they look at them as another way for corporations to squeeze money out of the working man. Yes, you can be born on Mars and travel from planet to planet, provided you work hard enough for too little pay at whatever menial job you can get your hands on. Cowboy Bebop is not Star Trek, where the basic needs of every human are automatically met, so they can focus on exploration and other higher pursuits. It's a dark mirror of the modern world, proving that no matter how far we go, there's no escaping capitalism. The first piece of dialogue in Netflix's show is a speech about corporate greed and how the rich and powerful control our access to food, medicine, and fuel needed to traverse the solar system. This shows a remarkable understanding of an integral part of the anime, and one that's rarely talked about because it's quite subtle. The anti-corporation and anti-capitalist thesis is out in the open, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's being forced down our throats. That's because it's delivered by an unlikable casino robber who later gets battered by Spike and Jet. Yet after a few episodes, you will find yourself largely agreeing with the bad guy. It's a rare instance of clever writing on the show. When you consider all of the above, it makes you more forgiving of Spike and Jet's callousness and insensitivity in the live-action series. In the anime, they were always scrambling for money, but never obsessed with becoming rich. They just wanted enough cash to put beef in their stir-fry and keep flying to be free. In order to do that, they turned to hunting humans. In the anime, bounty hunting was turned into a sport or a game where TV hosts in silly costumes talked about prices put on human heads, with disturbing game show-like smiles and funny little skits. The animated Spike and Jet were a part of that dehumanizing world. Thankfully, it didn't make them insensitive to the suffering of others, but it easily could have. And that's apparently what happened in the live-action series. It may not be exactly like the anime, but it's an interesting extension of a theme that was very much there in the original show. So let's talk about some more themes that are in the original. Environmental strife is the most obvious issue highlighted by the particular brand of dystopia found in the anime, but the economic situations feel uncomfortably familiar as well, with the characters effectively operating in their universe's version of the gig economy. Yet the topics of planet-wide destruction and capitalist decay that would normally lend a darker tone to most shows never overwhelm it. So an Atlantic article called Asteroid Blues, like a lot of Americans, I only became aware of the series until 2001 when it began airing on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. I initially brushed it aside like I had previous anime programs. Bebop changed my perception of the genre, as it would for other American anime noobs. The show tailored itself towards a more mature viewership, taking despair and violence head on, with a dramatic touch rarely seen in animation or even live action TV. And here's the part I want to talk about. The show was even forward thinking enough to include a gay couple mid-coitus, something American animated shows would never dare to attempt. So talking about that last part, how do you think the anti-SJW reactionaries would react if they saw that in 1998? Say like YouTube existed back then and their whole grifting ecosystem reacted. How would they react to that being seen in an anime on Cartoon Network's Adult Swim? Do you think they'd like it? Do you think they'd say, oh, that was quite cool and nice? Something you don't really see in animes these days. Of course, you know what they would cry about. Woke, forcing this stuff on teenagers. How gross. Honestly, someone needs to get on a parody of pretending you're an Anti-SJW YouTube channel, reacting to stuff like this, and throughout like movies and stuff, even something like Dog Day Afternoon that came out in the 70s, these guys would go absolutely crazy if this stuff came out today. Which points to the fundamental thing, they often do not understand the things they claim to love, whether that be Star Wars, whether that be Dune, whether that be like multiple movies over the years, because they simply have no critical thinking skills. They have no media analysis skills. The same reason Ben Shapiro and these guys can say they love Blade Runner and Dune is because they just look at the A to B plots. Just have this tunnel vision and I'm just watching a story, and after I watch it, yeah, that was good. What a great movie. I'm going to tell everyone it was great without actually thinking about anything other than just, I don't know, Paul's A to B journey or Deckard's A to B journey. So there's just two things going on here. The typical anti-SJWs not understanding their favourite things, very, very common, and also this hysterical reaction of the fans, particularly anime fans. And it's something these guys need to get a grip with, because you being a fan of something is not an identity. These guys think like, we are the Star Wars community. You just like these things. You don't have any ownership of them because you gather in groups and talk about them, which is all well and good. I like doing that as well. You can be frustrated at the direction people are taking stuff. You can talk about how you feel the show does not live up to the spirit of the anime. But then why do you have to take the Netflix show itself as a personal attack on your own identity? It just speaks to someone who has either no personality or some issues with confidence, that you feel like any criticism of something you like is a personal attack on you. And I know you guys agree with me because I've seen lots of comments talk about this. It's just the most bizarre thing. Like, you disrespected we the fans, so it must be open season on anyone who worked on the show, and we'll just harass you non-stop no matter who you are, even if you only have 600 Twitter followers and you work on like making sure the world has continuity and work on the scripts, but you don't actually write the scripts and you don't actually direct anything. This isn't your creative vision. They still think you're a target for ruining their favorite show and by extension somehow ruining their lives. Anime fans who hate on people like Naomi, just go back to like 1 year ago where this didn't exist and remember how that felt like, because that's how you should be acting. Why do you have to care about this? You don't have to care about it. The thing you love will always be there. It's always gonna be there. It's not going to change. Someone's take on it doesn't mean that's ruined. And even better, because you hate it so much and think it's so wrong, you can just dismiss that out of your lives. You don't have to go around harassing people. I cannot even imagine feeling this way. Like Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, like two of my favorite movies, right? If they announce on Netflix, we are remaking Blade Runner, the original one, starring Chris Pratt, and then I watch it and I think, that is god-awful, so bad. I can't believe they even thought they should remake it, let alone make this trash. I wouldn't then look up on Twitter, well, who made this stuff? I gotta go after them with a hate mob because what I've watched offends me so much personally. Again, I just do not know what is wrong with these people. Anyway, that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you want to follow me on social media, at the Kavernacle on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to join our communities, check out the Discord and check out the subreddit. And if you want to support my work, please check out my Patreon. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.